Imagine a frozen world where the sun never truly sets, and yet life is exploding beneath the ice. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll see the Arctic as the most alive frozen desert on Earth. Ready? First, what is the Arctic ecosystem? It's a giant frozen ocean ringed by land covered in shifting ice. But under those cold layers, tiny creatures, fish, seals, and even whales are linked in a fragile web you're about to discover. To understand this web, we start with the real heroes. Microscopic algae living on and inside the ice. They look like greenish dust, but they're the solar panels of the Arctic, capturing sunlight and turning it into energy for the whole system. As spring returns and light comes back, these ice algae wake up and bloom. Tiny shrimp-like creatures called zooplankton rush to feed. Think of it as the Arctic's breakfast buffet, opening after a long, dark winter night. These zooplankton may be tiny, but they're crucial. Fish rely on them to grow fast in the short summer. In just a few weeks, fish must eat enough to survive months of cold and darkness. Miss this window, and the whole chain feels it. Let's swim up the food chain. Those small fish become the perfect snack for Arctic cod, a tough species that can survive near freezing water. Their bodies even make a special protein that stops their blood from turning into ice crystals. Now, who eats Arctic cod? Seals. They're like the athletes of the ice, smoothly diving under the floes, then popping up through cracks to breathe. Every successful hunt depends on knowing exactly where the ice is weakest and open. At the top of this icy food web stands a superstar, the polar bear. It waits by breathing holes listening for seals. One missed hunt can mean losing vital energy. In the Arctic, every calorie counts, every move must be efficient. But the Arctic isn't only about hunters. Tiny Arctic flowers bloom on land for just a few weeks, attracting insects and birds. Imagine racing to grow, flower, and set seeds before winter slams the door shut again. Many birds travel thousands of kilometers to reach this short summer feast. They nest on cliffs, eat insects and fish, then leave before the cold returns. The Arctic is their seasonal supermarket, open briefly but full of energy. Even giant whales visit. Bowhead whales live their entire lives in Arctic waters, using their strong heads to push through thin ice to breathe. Their thick blubber stores energy, a living battery helping them survive extreme cold. Temperature rises don't just melt ice slowly, they change the timing of everything. If algae bloom earlier but fish larvae hatch later, the fish miss their main meal. It's like arriving at a party after the food is gone. This mismatch can cascade. Fewer fish means less food for seals, which means hungry polar bears. A small change in temperature at the surface can echo through the entire food web, from invisible algae to the largest predators. Ice also acts like a mirror, reflecting sunlight back into space. When it melts, darker ocean water absorbs more heat, warming even faster. That's a feedback loop. Less ice leads to more warming, which leads to even less ice. But wait, there's a hopeful side. Scientists are studying how Arctic species adapt, from flexible hunting strategies in polar bears to shifts in migration routes for whales. Understanding this helps us predict and maybe soften the impacts. Technology lets us watch the Arctic from space. Satellites track ice cover, thickness, and movement. From these patterns, we can see how fast things change and which regions are most at risk, guiding protection efforts. Local communities, especially indigenous peoples, hold deep knowledge of ice, winds, and animals. Their observations, like noticing thinner ice or changes in migration paths, add vital detail that satellites alone can't see. So what can we do far from the Arctic? Reducing greenhouse gas emissions is like turning down the global thermostat. The slower the warming, the more time Arctic species have to adapt instead of collapsing under sudden shifts. Protecting key habitats is another tool. Marine protected areas can limit noise, shipping, and fishing in sensitive zones, giving whales, seals, and fish calmer spaces to feed and breed while the climate continues to change. Remember those ice algae? They also help capture carbon, locking it away in the deep ocean when organisms die and sink. The Arctic acts as a partial carbon sink, subtly helping slow global warming if we don't break its balance. Arctic animals have mind-blowing adaptations. Some fish keep antifreeze proteins in their blood, seals can hold their breath for over an hour, and polar bears have black skin under white fur to absorb as much heat as possible. Even the way animals move is optimized. Polar bears choose energy-saving routes over ice, seals time dives to match their prey, and whales follow temperature fronts where food is densest. It's Arctic physics in action every day. In winter, darkness wraps the Arctic for months, yet some species keep feeding, using sound instead of sight. Whales communicate over huge distances, and seals use echoes to find breathing holes and avoid getting trapped. Light returns in a burst. When the first sun rays hit the ice, it's like flipping a switch. Algae bloom, zooplankton wake up, fish grow, birds arrive. The entire ecosystem runs on this precise seasonal clock, and it's incredibly tight. Now imagine this clock running too fast. If the Arctic warms, ice breaks up earlier, storms hit open water, and animals risk being out of sync. The puzzle pieces are the same, but they no longer fit together perfectly. Yet the Arctic has survived past climate changes, just not at today's speed. Our challenge is to slow the change so this ecosystem can adjust. The more we understand its hidden connections, the better our chances to protect it. So next time you see the Arctic on a map, don't think empty white. Think of bustling life under the ice, of whales singing in the dark, of algae glowing like tiny lanterns. This frozen ocean is one of Earth's most vibrant engines. If you've stayed until now, you've unlocked a new way to see this frozen world. Not as distant ice, but as a living network that affects the whole planet, including you. Want more mind-bending science like this? You know what to do.